An ATM ripped out of this TD Bank branch by thieves overnight. An unapproved withdrawal using a construction equipment backhoe.
It's another year. You know what that means in Canada? More taxes from Justin Trudeau. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David, and today's top story here, we've got Franco Terrazzano from the Taxpayer Federation breaking it down. More taxes from Trudeau. Got some other stories as well. Let's jump into this.
New year, more federal tax hikes from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in 2025. Payroll taxes up, carbon taxes up, alcohol taxes, you guessed it, also going up. So the payroll taxes in 2025 will increase by up to $403. So let's say you're a worker making $81,200 or more next year. Well, your total payroll tax bill in 2025 will be about $5,500. Your employer will also have to fork up $5,900. So Trudeau taking more money out of your pocket again in 2025. Carbon tax also going up. Trudeau is yet again cranking up his favorite tax on April 1 of 2025. On April 1, the carbon tax will cost about 21 cents per liter of gasoline.
This carbon tax is criminal. Like, we need to get rid of this like now.
25 cents per liter of diesel and 18 cents per cubic meter of natural gas. And before the government starts shrieking, what about the rebates? What about the rebates? Well, the parliamentary budget officer, the government's own independent budget watchdog, has once again shown that the carbon tax is costing average families hundreds of dollars more than they get back in rebates.
Or for people like me in British Columbia, Quebec, other provinces, there are no rebates. David Eby has run the largest deficit in BC's history and offers nothing back in return for all the British Columbians out here.
In fact, the carbon tax will cost the average family up to $477 more in 2025 than they get back in rebates. And some more bad news, the government also charges its sales tax on top of the carbon tax. So this carbon tax on tax will cost Canadians about $500 million next year, and the government doesn't even pretend to rebate that carbon tax on tax money back to you.
And to administer the carbon tax rebates, it's $200 million. What an absolute waste.
Now, the carbon tax can sure drive you to drink, but oh, too bad. Trudeau will be making alcohol more expensive again in 2025 with another alcohol tax hike of 2% on April 1. So that tax hike will cost taxpayers about $40 million next year. And remember, folks, in budget 2017, Trudeau imposed an automatic alcohol escalator tax that increases taxes on alcohol every single year without a vote in Parliament. That is fundamentally undemocratic, and it's making your alcohol cost more. So this automatic escalator tax on alcohol has cost taxpayers already so far about $900 million. And when you look at all the taxes that you're paying on alcohol, well, taxes make up about half of the price. Remember, following the budget of 2024, Trudeau also imposed some other tax increases and new taxes. So you might remember Trudeau brought in a capital gains tax hike through budget 2024. Well, that is going after doctors, entrepreneurs, Canadians outside of government who are saving for the retirement. And an economist by the name of Jack Mintz has crunched the numbers. Let me read them for you, how the capital gains tax will affect Canada over the medium and long term. So Canada's capital stock, according to Jack Mintz, will fall by $127 billion. Employment would decline by $414,000. Real per capita GDP, will decline by 3%. So the capital gains tax hike, a huge drag on taxpayers and on our economy.
Another note on that capital gains tax. So the CRA, if you didn't see the video a couple days ago, they're going ahead with the capital gains increase from 50% inclusion rate to 66.7% inclusion rate, even though it did not go into law in Parliament. What kind of clown show are we living in? Because the House is locked down with the SDTC scandal, the Eco Green Slush Fund, $400 million, and the Liberals refuse to give over the documents that most likely incriminate them to the RCMP, this capital gains hike hasn't gone through. But the CRA has gone ahead and decided to just steal corporations' money at this new rate, even though it is not a law in this country. What do we even say anymore to this stuff? It's unbelievable.
In June 2024, the Trudeau government also announced an online streaming tax, which will cost about $200 million per year, and also imposed a digital services tax, which targets large companies operating online marketplaces, social media platforms, and earning revenue from online advertising. But with both the online streaming tax and the digital services tax, you can expect companies to pass a huge portion of that tax onto you through higher prices. Now, here's a Tax Foundation report looking at a digital services tax in other countries, and I'm just going to quote it right for you, okay? Quote, an economic impact assessment of the French digital services tax shows that about 55% of the total tax burden will be passed on to consumers, 40% to online vendors, and only 5% borne by digital companies by the new tax.
Every single tax they put in does not help us. It hurts us. We get nothing back from it. They line their own pockets. Money's getting flushed out to McKinsey, global affairs projects, eco-green slush funds, cycle capital. This madness must end. There's other taxes too per province. We're not going to go into all the nitty gritty, but some of them, like for example, in Alberta, there's a new tax on electric vehicles to help pay for roads because that's usually taken from the GST paid on gasoline. And because electric vehicles are heavier, they chew up the roads more. I think there's $100 or $200 a year tax on EVs in Alberta, stuff like that. I just checked, it's $200 per year, so that tax will be coming to Alberta. We've also got this one here. It says British Columbia will impose a new home flipping tax of up to 20% on people who flip homes within a year of buying them starting January 1st. Flipping houses, this whole thing is a complicated business. What's ironic about this, if we look at the Liberal Party, this guy here, Gary Andesandri or whatever, this guy's flipped like a lot of houses, a couple dozen houses, and made like $4 or $5 million off of flipping houses. There's a reason why the Liberals didn't tackle this problem, but it doesn't seem to matter what David Eby does in BC. He keeps running a massive deficit and just running our country into the ground. There's plenty of more madness here in Canada. We've got this one. It says last night, some thugs broke into the Pike Lake Fire Hall and stole all the rescue tools from the rescue unit. We fundraised for months to buy cordless jaws of life and spreaders for this unit. These are the tools that go into the car. They split them open to save people, and somebody stole those things. And these people weren't done yet. They even broke open the Smoky Piggy Bank and stole all the cash that was in there going towards other projects to tune of $3,000. This is a big loss for the hall. Who the heck would steal from a fire hall knowing that those tools you stole could save someone's life? So they're talking about tools like this. This kind of crime should be 20 years in jail, if not more. It's just life in jail. You never get out. Like, this is so bad. Just disgusting vermin in our country that need to be eradicated. So looking through the comments here, he says it's most likely some hard candy addicts from Stoon. They've exploded in the last 2 years. So next up here in Trudeau's Canada, check this out. There's some criminals use this backhoe to pull out an ATM from a TD Bank and steal the money.
An ATM ripped out of this TD Bank branch by thieves overnight. An unapproved withdrawal using a construction equipment backhoe. One that left the ATM on the ground in pieces.
It's astonishing how bold and brazen people are. You know, who came up with that idea? How could they do that? I mean,
an idea that's catching on with bank thieves. In nearby Pickering last month, 4 suspects pulled a smash and grab using the same technique with a backhoe. They escaped in a pickup truck and are still being sought. In Newfoundland, thieves also using a backhoe ripped an ATM out of a Royal Bank branch. 4 suspects were arrested and face charges in that case. And south of Seattle,
face charges? What charges? They'll be let out on bail. They'll be back out the street to rob another bank tomorrow.
Last month, 3 thieves using a stolen backhoe attached a chain to an ATM and ripped the bank machine out of its enclosure. Videos show the ATM in the back of a getaway vehicle with police in hot pursuit. They gave up the chase, saying it was too dangerous.
It's still violent. It's not their place. You don't go robbing banks. You don't go taking walls out.
In this ATM theft, customers said they were surprised at how thieves did it without threatening anyone before dawn.
dash and grab, I guess this is.
My husband had to go get some money, U.S. money at the bank today, and he just said to me, could have gotten a lot more if you had a backhoe.
Police aren't saying how much money was stolen, although global news sources say a machine like this could contain tens of thousands of dollars before a holiday. The bank is closed for the week to the disappointment of some customers.
Yeah, I wanted to get some money. I needed to pay my housekeeper.
Toronto police have so far not released security video of what happened here or provided descriptions of the backhoe bank bandits. Chris.
Backhoe bank bandits. This is Trudeau's Canada. There's no punishment. Put these people in jail, 20 years in jail, hard manual labor. Maybe they think twice, but no. Little slap on the wrist, little bit of Xbox, little bit of house arrest, and they're back on the street. People laughing. This is very sad. Canada's not safe anymore. How many of these bank robbers came into Canada just by walking across the border at Roxham Road? That's a great question. So sad. Canada ruined. Thieves must be construction workers themselves. That's why they know how to use the heavy construction machinery. You can probably look up on YouTube the basics on how to turn the thing on and how to use the backhoe arm to tug. But maybe he's right, to do it swiftly and quickly. It's time for a change in this country, my friends, a real change. Justin Trudeau, 2015 rally. He was right. There's a real change in this country. So next up, there's this post here by Kirk Lubinov, which is interesting. It says, Justin Trudeau isn't resigning, and this is why. No way he's giving up on this. So we have Denis Shimal, who is the Prime Minister of Ukraine, which is not to be confused with the President of Ukraine, which is Zelensky. But basically, Denis here says, Canada will assume the G7 presidency as of today. Many thanks to Justin Trudeau and the Canadian people for their unwavering support for Ukraine. We look forward to continuing our close coordination, defense assistance, and increased sanctions on Russia, including on the Shadow Fleet. We are grateful for Italy for its leadership during the 2024 presidency. So Italy last year, 2024, was in charge of the G7, and now Canada is. And then at the end of the year, it'll be handed over to Japan. We welcome the decision to transfer $50 billion from Russia's frozen assets. Only by working together can we ensure lasting peace and security for all. So this whole situation is messy because, so first off, Canada will be hosting in June the G7 in Kananaskis in Alberta. And you just know Justin Trudeau be he'll be doing his ahs and walking around like a bumbling buffoon. Does the narcissist Trudeau have to be there? Does he have to be running the show and hosting the world, hosting the G7? Is this an ego thing? And obviously, when we're looking at this support for Ukraine, so Justin Trudeau committed $500 million, the most recent donation of our hard-earned tax dollars and assets from our country back in July. And the most recent one was $65 million back in October, coming from Dominic LeBlanc. A lot of money and assets flowing from Canada. But you've also got Joe Biden just like yesterday or 2 days ago, committing another $6 billion from America. I think this is coming because Biden's going to be out in like 3 weeks. He wants to give as much possible over to Ukraine before Trump comes in and says, no more. You guys got to negotiate. Draw some new lines, figure it out. No more conflict in Russia and Ukraine. Biden's doing his best to try to hamstring Trump and not work with him. I mean, Biden has gone off and tried to sell a bunch of the border wall. It was just absolutely absurd. And a court actually blocked the sale of the border wall until after Trump gets into power. Like, it's just crazy how they're not working together. And like Biden's trying to hinder Trump before he gets in. All this money flowing and stuff is directly connected to Ukraine. He wants to give over as much possible before Trump gets in. Is all this because Trudeau, if he's still prime minister, would be hosting the G7 in Kananaskis? Is this an ego move? Justin wants to take a job at the UN. This is how he gets there. If you think about that, the next job coming up at the UN is the UN Secretary General. The position will be filled sometime in 2026. If you look at the UN's objectives, climate change, gender diversity, equality, blah, 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 all that stuff is Trudeau's calling card. That UN position would require someone to be very diplomatically savvy. And considering Justin Trudeau is the worst diplomat, the worst person with public relations on the global stage, like he's an absolute disaster. But would he be a shoo-in because he's got buddies at the UN? Maybe that is his plan. Who knows? And you've got Kirk saying here, just like Freeland, maybe that's Freeland's plan too. But it seems there's definitely a rift between Freeland and Trudeau now. On this episode of Far Off Ripoff, what do we got here today? Let's just pick something at random here. $6.5 million of our tax dollars spent in Ecuador. This project contributes to Canada's $120 million loan for the government of Ecuador. It supports the country's clean energy transition and promotion of private investment in the energy sector. It does so through building workplace capacity, promoting universal access to clean energy. This is ridiculous. Why are we spending our money for Ecuador to transition to the green transition? This is so stupid. I mean, listen to this. Increasing access to electricity service in remote and indigenous communities and reducing discrimination based on gender and disability in the electricity sector. This is preposterous. This is how our money's getting spent. We got people sleeping in the streets. Jumping over to my group here, let's see what memes we've got today. Yeah, good luck, Trudeau. Wayfair's got them on sale. I think they're overcharging. It's just too pricey for a pile of kindling, if you ask me. $107 for This is so ridiculous. I bet you Justin Trudeau has one of these. The ox, the taxonator, but the chill out, the cooler, to get to the cooler. Trump to hold DC rally on January 19th, the day before his inauguration. Just announced the Liberal Party 0 seats. If we keep going this way, they're going to have nothing left. Things I want out of Canada in 2025. Ugh. No more hot Carls on the beach. This needs to be increased to a $5,000 or $10,000 fine for doing this. Riddle me this: if giving a raise to grocery store cashiers would have caused prices to skyrocket, then why haven't self-checkouts dropped prices? Because they're greedy, that's why. It occurs to me that, ironically, Justin Trudeau and his supporters now constitute a small fringe group of Canadians. This is awesome. That's right on there. That's on point. There you have it. Tax increases in Canada, all thanks to Justin Trudeau. What else is he good for, though? If you're looking for something a little bit different, chill out a bit, I have another channel that I'm re-uploading my videos because my other channel was taken down by Russian hackers. If you want to learn about the history of the chili peppers, which originated from a small pepper that had no heat, to the wide array of hot chili peppers we have today, you can check out this video here. I'll see you on the next one.